When it comes to the best biosecurity and biosafety protocols to help your business thrive during these challenging times of face masks, viruses, and gloves, schools, businesses, sports arenas, hotels, and even churches are turning to America's top COVID-19 experts.
Providing is a solution that has the ability to change the way we fight COVID-19.
Hi, I'm Socrates Garrett, Chief Operating Officer for SRS Inc., the single source solution for biosecurity protocols. SRS will ensure that your business does not shut down.
What separates SRS from other companies? We understand that if you control your environment, you control the spread of COVID-19.
SRS, the one source solution.
I'm doing my best to make it. Hey, how y'all doing today? Welcome to another week of BMA Radio Show with your host, Dr. J and Mr. Socrates Garrett. How you doing today, Soc?
I'm doing just fine. A little wet, stormy out here, but you know, that's just the way it is in life.
Amen.
A little stormy from time to time, so we have to work our way through it and honor our commitments and keep it moving, keep it going.
That's right. Just like Jesus told the disciples, come, let us go to the other side. We are going to the other side.
That's right. That's right. He said everybody wasn't gonna make it.
Everybody.
He left some of them out there to wander in the wilderness for a long time, 40 years or more. I'm sure. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, indeed.
So I don't want to be in that group.
Circling the same dumb mountains.
Circling the same dumb mountains every day, going nowhere, huh?
Amen.
Yeah. So I see you have a guest with us today.
Yes, we do. We have Mr. Greg Divinity,
Hey.
candidate for House of Representative special election, September 22nd. Tell us more about it.
Yeah, there is a special election for House of Representative District 66, and like I say, I am Greg Divinity, and I'm your candidate for that district. And one thing about it is I always tell people about me as a person that is a committed servant, a change agent, and a fighter, that I'm a fight for the people no matter what the situation is that's in that district, whatever the challenges we may be facing there. I'm, up for the challenges. And, on my platform that I want to make sure that I look at and push heavily is public education enhancement. I think that we have to do some things to change our public education system and improve it. And there's ways that I look at to enhance that system by one, I think that we should have more after school programs that are funded by the public education system. Also, criminal justice, law enforcement enhancement, reforming that criminal justice system. Without question, is a problem for the African American community. You go there and you see more African Americans incarcerated than anything else. So, and I look at it because it's a business. A lot of people are not aware that a lot of the prison systems in Mississippi are businesses. We have to look at moving that from the business arena back to the public arena so we can get more reform taking place and we can limit the recidivism that's taking place in that system. Also, one of the part of the district includes South Jackson and that area, and we got a vast amount of blight that we need to clean up and look at ways where we can take some of these homes that are in place there that are vacant and move homeowners into them. We have to look at plans of that nature. That's part of something that I think that we have to do in the legislature. And one of the main things that we in here with Business and Ministry Alliance, I'm also looking at, pushing to make sure that we have a community and business partnerships. Work diligently to get community and business partnering together. The business being in communities and being able to put some things back in the community. And another one of the things that I'm really passionate about is decent and affordable health care for all. Whether that is Medicaid or some other feasible alternative, we got to make sure that individuals can go to a doctor, get a checkup, at least, get themselves seen about. You all know what's happening with the coronavirus, that it is affecting the African-American community at a disproportionate rate. And I do believe that is because of the lack of affordable health care in the years, and we have not been able to go to the doctor and get seen about ourselves. So those are some things that we are definitely looking to put in place. And in the rural area, we got to get internet service. We got to get internet service up in the rural areas with what is happening right now with the coronavirus. And we need children in their virtual classrooms. And a lot of them cannot get in a virtual classroom due to the fact that they do not have adequate internet service in those areas. So, hey, that's what I'm looking at as a platform and things that we want to push within the legislature. Like I say, I'm a retired military guy, did the military for a long time, moved up into the rank of a field grade officer. Also, I'm a retired federal investigator, so I understand policy, I understand procedure, I understand how to get regulations and things and things approved and move forward in different arenas. And so that's where I'm at. And that's, I'm just glad to be here with you all, knowing that Mr. Socrates is a giant in the business field here in Mississippi. And I'm just excited just being in you all's presence. You just explained to me that your dad was the first Black mayor of Chula, Mississippi. I feel like I'm in good company. Like we say down in the country, I'm in high cotton. So I'm just excited right now to be in high cotton.
Well, Greg, in the country, they always ask, well, who your folks? Tell me a little bit about.
Well,
a little bit about yourself.
Well, like I said, his name is Greg Divinity, and I know Divinity is not a common name. And we have a patch of Divinity we have a patch of Divinity in Utica, Mississippi. We have a small patch in Marrero, Louisiana. That area, a small patch in Chicago, Illinois, small patch of us in Los Angeles, California. And, we've been in the Utica area, say all life, grew up there, went to high school there, left all the military, those type of things. So that my life has been around this district because I lived in this district, and the thing about it is I grew up in the district. So it's not, it's very interesting. Because the thing about it is, I grew up in District 66, and I moved to Jackson, Mississippi, and realized that I still live in District 66. So, and then, I have about, I have to keep count of my siblings. I have, I'm the baby of 17 siblings, 10 sisters and 7 brothers. So,
that's how you gonna win.
If I can get my siblings out, my nephews and nieces out, and I'm a part of the Jones family down there. So, if we can get the Joneses out and get the Divisions out, look, it's gonna be difficult for me to lose in this arena.
Okay. Right.
So that's where I'm from, and I'm excited about doing some things here in the district. And I like to tell people I already do some stuff in the district, already working in the district. This is not new to me. I've already put in preschools and after school programs, those type of things, tutorial programs, run a food program for underprivileged children in disadvantaged areas. Also do mental health ministry, working to with those that are mentally and intellectually disabled. Doing some things to assist those, and just also I work with Healing the City Coalition, things with them on getting some anger management going. I think a lot of African Americans still have a lot of anger that's built up. The fact that the way that we have been treated in a disproportionate way.
Wow. Wow. Well, with your law enforcement background and things of that nature, our communities are completely in disarray. Torn up crime is just tearing our communities and families apart. And, you know, when someone is killed in the community, it devastates, you know, that family.
It does.
You know, because, you know, like one of the leading causes of bankruptcy in our community is health-related issues, and the other one is criminal activity.
Right.
You know, and so talk to me a little bit about how you see crime and how the legislature and elected officials can deal with some of those issues.
One thing I think what we have to do is develop more of a community partnership with the law enforcement arena. We have to have more of a community partnership, and what I mean by that is that you have law enforcement within those where they're at that are willing to get out and meet the community. Because what happens is that sometimes when they see the law enforcement officer, when there is a crime or there is a situation that's taking place, and you don't see them any other time. So what is happening is you're not able to look at the law enforcement as a servant to you. You just look at them when there's a crime that takes place. And so we got to look at ways that we can get officers more involved in the community, even if we have to have some town hall meetings sometimes with just officers to make sure that those type of things take place.
Okay. All right. Well, I tell you, refreshing to have you on. Refreshing that you're willing to offer yourself up for public service at this time. It's probably one of the more challenging endeavors that you can ever encounter. We have such disarray in our community and such a division in our community until someone, new leadership and new blood often is required to interject ideas that can unite as opposed to vision that we currently see. And so I know that unification of our folk and our community on politics is critically important. Do you see something like that?
Yes. Without question. The thing about it, I believe I can work across the aisle, working with anyone within the legislature in order to make sure that we get the necessary resources within the district, within our area, to make sure that we do the improvements that's necessary. Sometimes we play politics, we play party, we get about the people. And we have to understand that we are public servants, and we are called to serve the people. And what I believe within even in myself, my focus is not on the politics, my focus is not on the party, my focus is on the people, and making sure that we help them and in order to get them the needs, those things that they need within their community.
Right. Dr. J.
So tell us, I sat down, we met last week, and I did a piece on you for the Mississippi Link. Tell the rest of the audience why you decided to run for this position.
Well, one thing, and I joked with you, and I said it was a vacant position. So that was one thing I decided to run. But the reason I decided to run, one, and I'm going to tell you just simply as this, I have to pray about it first. And I believe that it's a calling from the Lord for me to do this at this present time. And one thing about it is I see the situation, I see things that are happening in the district and within Mississippi itself as a whole. And I'm already involved with the work that I can do. I'm already the thing. And all we have to do is expand. I think that by being legislation, we can make sure we get the funding to help expand things like preschool and things like that. I think that the major advantage is that we lack the education that's needed to move to the next level in our community. And I believe that is something that's needed, and that's something that I'm going to push very hard on, because I think that we get to educate early, making sure that we have after-school programs. If you do the studies, you see that preschoolers as well as after-school do a lot better in school than those that are not afforded an after-school or preschool. So we have to put funding in that from a arena in order to make sure that we can enhance our educational system. And then I just see the need of the community. I see the need. And one thing about it is you got to be willing to get involved. And the thing about it is we can sit back and talk and say this is right and talk about it, but you got to get involved. One of my is the change I want to see, I become that change. So I got to become that change. And that's why I'm running for this office.
So we have over 300,000 citizens currently here. What do you think Mississippi needs to address that issue?
I think if we could put in place and get Medicaid all Mississippi, I think that would be the case and be able everyone so that is exactly that the way that we can do it. We just have to go in, look at the funding that is coming in Medicaid, and I think that we can take the funding. We may, not all of it, but a vast amount of it, and what we can expand that Medicaid system where individuals would have health care. They understand that there are some people that work and have their job that make sure they have health care, but I'm talking about individuals that do not have health care, and we took that.
Gotcha. So for the people that do not know where District 66 is located, tell them again some of those polls and precincts.
Okay, District 66 consists of South Jackson, Byron, Terry, Port-a-Terry, Port-a-Rain, and part of Utica as well, part of Learning, Mississippi. So those are the areas trying to put up the precincts at this time so I could give you a statistics. It's not coming up.
You got to over here. How you doing today? Go ahead and introduce yourself to our listeners. Tell them who you are.
Good evening. Bill consultant work. That's a great House Representative District 6. And the precincts are precinct 69, 74, 91, 92, 93, 94, Byram 2, Chapel Hill, Dry Grove, Learning 1, and Raymond 2, Spring Ridge, Terry 2, and Utica 2. There are 14 precincts in this district. And there's no whole precinct. Most of them are, all of them are partial. So it's split.
Yeah, because it's split between what District 71, 70. It's just crazy how those lines are drawn. I think that's the issue that they also need to address. They drew these lines so that they could maintain power. Right. So we have so many different issues that we have to address. So we need representation, to represent us. So tell us some of the issues with the first day in office. What do you plan?
First day in office, really is to build relationships. Okay. First day in office, build a relationship, get to know other relationships, where that area are, getting to know who's on what committees, getting to know those type of things, so I can build the relationships that's needed in order to begin to work with those individuals in order to get what we need in the district. One thing I've learned that you don't do it all by yourself. What you have to do is you work people, we build a team, and you all work together. You understand the old cliche by team that together you can achieve more. So you can get in there, begin to build a relationship, build concept, experience. I think that that's going to be the main thing, getting some things done, getting some things taken care of within this district, is building those relationships.
So, what final words? What do you want our listeners to do on September 22nd?
On September 22nd, I'm asking and that every listener here that's in the district or that's not in the district, tell somebody about Greg Divinity. One thing I tell people, this is about me. I'm a committed servant. I'm a change agent, a proven fighter. I fought for my country, and now I'm ready to fight for the community. And I'm asking for your prayers, I'm asking for your support. And most of all, September 22nd, I'm asking for you to vote to send Greg Divinity as your representative, the House of Representatives, District 66.
All right. What about that? Can you have any final words?
I've worked with the young man for a while, and I can tell you, he really believes and know that he can do this job. If you live in District 60, you can vote. This past Monday, the voting starts. So if you're 65 years or older, or you're going to be out of the county, you can go vote now. So please vote Greg Divinity, possible representative, District 66. Greg Divinity.
Thank you all so much for coming. We really, really appreciate it, and we wish you the best of luck.
Doc and Socrates, I really would like to tell you how much I appreciate you all having me on the show. Thank you. And you just don't know that you're doing my heart well just to be able to see you all's company.
Well, let me ask you a couple more questions. I know that Dr. J's moving on, but what does it take to win that seat? Bill Washington is probably the renowned strategist. I see more people looking to him for consultation and assistance with the election than anyone else, quite frankly. And so you got the right team, that's for sure. So, strategically speaking, what does it take for that race? What are key precincts? How voter turnout at the precincts seem to be important, and so that you can speak directly to them.
And that's the key, just like you said, Mr. Garrett, is hitting the precincts that have the higher voting percentage and making sure that we go out there in those communities, set up some in some places, and just talk to the people. And we're gonna do grassroots. In this COVID, we just can't go like we once did. So we have to do some innovative things. And one of the innovative that we're looking to people from there out shopping in order to talk, let them know what our plan is and asking them to vote. And looking at those areas and where people the percentage is high in the voting area in voting. And we're gonna touch those really. But also the whole district, we buildings at the time to get in the whole district, just to talk to people, let them know about the story, about what his plan is, what he's already been doing. And one thing too, I believe special election. Special election is nonpartisan. So one thing about it is we believe that we can cross the line and get voters from the Republican arena as well as from the Democrat arena, just to let them know about our story and let them know what we believe in and what we're looking to do to help strengthen District 66.
And what key endorsements have you taken? Sometimes endorsements from past leaders and other political leaders. Have you been able to acquire any significant endorsements?
Well, in past district, I already talked with some of them that have already said that they will support. And right now, they're going to just put their name right out there, but they've already stated that they support going to their opening of their church to let me come in and speak, or just let me, with Zoom that is taking place right now. I'll go on Zoom and they can announce that I'm there, those type of things. So I have an array of pastors with me here that I've already talked with, and that's something that we're doing at this present time. And I have some officials within there. I think I can say this openly and honest. Representative Foster has already said that she's enforcing me to be the representative in that district, District 66. And so you have that nature that already seen, look, we want to work with you because we already see that what you're doing in the body is the stuff that you're looking to talk and saying that you do something, what you're doing, you're already doing some things. So let's go and just enhance the work that you're already doing.
Well, we pray it's tough work out, difficult. So anybody that's committed to improving our community, we support that. And so I want to thank you for coming by and sharing the time with us, and best of luck to you on your endeavor, on your journey.
Again, Mr. Garrett, Ian, Doc, I appreciate you all's time. I appreciate you all letting me be here. And I ask that you will continue to pray for me. Keep me in your prayers. And if you know somebody out there in the district, tell them about it in the district. Vote for me. If you don't get one, make sure you continue to lift me up in prayer. And I appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay. Appreciate
All right, great.
Sounds good, huh?
Great interview. Great interview. Young man wants to make a difference in our community, and we need that. Our communities are suffering, and so we clearly we're going to have to do a roll call, and we're going to have to bring people into focus that have the right mindset, the right heart, and the right drive and intellect to be able to make some changes in our community. So I look forward to that.
Well, you said people who are doing things in the community. Well, we have another young man from Holmes County that are doing some wonderful things in the community here representing the FDP. Tell us who you are, Mr. Cardell Wright.
Good evening. My name is Cardell Wright, and I'm the president of the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party in Holmes County. I'm a native of Grant, graduated high school there, and after graduation, turned to the University of Mississippi in Oxford and obtained a bachelor's in political science. And somehow, along the way, the Lord led me back home, and now doing work in the community to rebuild it, to invest back in the community, to, because it can't prosper. It really can't grow, and it just takes people who are willing to work and to sacrifice, for the money, but just understanding the need.
Well, tell me a little bit about Freedom Democratic. I'm always intrigued about that. I certainly know history, but our listening audience, especially our young don't hear history. And so you represent an organization that played a pivotal role in the gains that were made for our folk early on. And now you are the president of the Freedom Democratic Party. So tell us a little bit about that party, its origin and where it is and what you hope to accomplish with the party.
Yes, sir. Well, the Mississippi Democratic Party, it was started in 1964 by the likes of Fannie Lou Hamer, Bob Moses, Annie Devine, and in Mississippi, it first came to the Tula area, right in Mouse and Harmon. The most notable guy at the time to actually lead the Freedom Democratic Party. But when it got started, it was simply because we needed to sit at the table. The Democratic Party originally didn't really invest in black people or didn't, believe that we could have a position. So we got our people got together and created the Freedom Democratic Party, and they ended up going to the Democratic National Convention to be seated. Now, it didn't quite work out the way they wanted to, but the premier focus of the organization conversation was on registration. They understood that if we're going to have a voice in the community, they understood that if we're going to make an impact, it's at the ballot box. And we have to get people registered to vote. And if they're able to get, especially Black people registered to vote, and we get Black people running for office, then we can be adequately represented at that time. So that's kind of where it's going.
Okay. Do we still need a seat at the table, or are Black folks represented in the current political structures between the Republican and Democratic Party? How do you see us being represented today?
Well, honestly, yes, and we are being represented and we're not. You know, we live in a lane where we talk about the American dream and since we talk about the American dream doesn't exist in every part of our nation. If we go right to the West Mississippi and the Delta, Black people in that area are not adequately represented. But also, we have to know that there are those that are in power as Black, that are elected officials, that they are not doing the job that we put them there to do. Somehow, somewhere along the way, when our people get in office, the power that they have goes to their head, and it's about politics. It should not be about politics, and it should be about public service. And we need women who are going to serve the people, as the Constitution states, it's a government of the people, by the people, and for the people that lead your future. It's the people. And what happens is they get in office, they get caught up in the good old boys club, and they start, having backroom conversations, and start talking, every week. But and that sort of FDP now is to be regimented to come together to hold it.
We got a caller. Hey, caller, you on the air. What's your question or comment?
How y'all doing this afternoon? You and Mr. Garrett and your guest.
We're doing
Pastor Jackson.
Hey, Pastor Jackson.
Good.
What's
the
your
young man that was there a few minutes ago, Mr. Trinity?
Yes.
I like what he said. He was saying, and this is what most politicians don't understand. He was saying that he worked for the people, not the people working for him. And I like that. If you don't work for somebody, you're working for the people. And the young Democratic brother there now, he got a great idea, but you need to know how to move the cheese. Quit sitting at his table, get your own table. And let him know what you want. If he can't do it, let him alone. That's the bottom line. And God bless you. Y'all have a good evening. Y'all doing a beautiful show, Mr. Garrett, and keep doing what y'all doing.
Thank you, Pastor Jackson. Always good hearing from you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Y'all be blessed.
All right.
So you were saying, sometimes the office goes to a head or something? Is that what you were saying?
Yes, sir.
Hold on a second.
You got calling off the line. Hey, caller, you on there? What's your question or comment?
Yeah, I heard, I think the young man or somebody there was saying about the Democrat Party.
Yes, the Freedom Democratic Party.
Sometimes I think that Democrats, I look at, I go there, used to go to city council meetings. I've seen Socrates Garrett coming in bid so low, it had to be charity work, and they still would give it to the white man. But I look at the city council, we ain't got nothing setting up there for black folks. Can you explain that young Democrat?
Thank you so much. Did you understand what he was saying?
Not quite.
Well, some of the same problems that we're having in Holmes County with the Board of Supervisors, we see the same problem here in Jackson with the city council. Although most of them all probably look black on the outside, the work that they're doing, the votes that they're making doesn't support black people. And so.
Well, see, when it comes to that, a lot of people try to tackle these issues alone. There's a quote that says, alone we can do so little, but together we can do a lot. And many of us, as what we call, as millennials, we say, many of us are woke, and we understand, there is in this specific coalition that focus on focus. So what I'm doing with FDP in Holmes County is we are seeing every board and we move on our agenda to the people. And we will do that. And if you have and I have young outside people and protesting, we wouldn't do that because it doesn't make sense, especially in Holmes County, for it to be 85% black county with an all black electorate, and your vote is not for the black people. And it has to do with understanding the white people have the money, and nothing against the white people, but we are in our own people because of or what we call young people in the youth, they call it those that are black really catered to another race. So we have to now focus and hold these powers that be accountable. How do we do that? We put pressure. And ever since I've taken over the presidency for the FDP, it has been a race because as a young black educated man that has a vision, I don't believe in backing down. I believe in results. And if I feel like I'm still no good, and I feel like I know this is right, then I won't back down. And they're not used to that. When you have an office, they just feel like that you have to bow to them. But that's not so. And the FDP just to recommend Jackson, to tell the council, tell the mayor, whoever it is, this is what you have to do. And if you don't do it, then we're going to get out of there. So I'm trying to bring the FDP back in every part of home county so we can influence these elections, so we can endorse candidates. So therefore, when people want to come to Central Mississippi to campaign, they'll come to the FDP like they once did because Dr. J, your father, Dr. Eddie Carthan, told me that no candidate back in the day of the FDP got elected if they didn't get endorsed by the FDP. And that's what I'm trying to get it back to.
Oh, so is there a chapter in Hinds County?
For far as I know, I think there's one that's functioning.
Yes, a couple of years ago, the Keep the Stamps actually went and paid and started one here. And so we have been doing some work behind the scenes with the FDP party. I really do think that if we all come together, we could hold people have to come to us to win elections. If you look at the numbers, especially in this last election, they need us to win. And if we just come together and lay out our agenda, we will have the power and the votes to win. And I read that is that in long time in home county, we've been told that we only exist in the FDP. Because when it was founded, it was started in Sunflower County, Ruraville, with Fannie Lou Hamer. And over the years, as we gained the right to vote and started getting in office and in positions, it kind of, died off. But now it's really needed now more than ever. So now that I did find out that there is a FDP in Jackson, we're supposed to be meeting to kind of set up how can we bridge the two to bring it under one umbrella so we can build it up and our arms can reach further rather than Holmes County being a world by itself and then Jackson doing its own thing. We're stronger together. If we can, even if we compare it to, I call the NAACP, our sister organization, they are all over the place and they do have their headquarters. If we can build it just like that, so people can come into your office and say, well, these are the issues that I'm having. This is what happened. They write it down and we investigate it and then we take care of it. That's what the FDP is supposed to do. Any forms of injustice. It's not just voter registration anymore. Any forms of injustice, discrimination, hatred, whether it's in your personal life, whether it's on your job, whether it's in the education system, whether it's in city government, the FDP has the power to tackle those issues, including going further into litigation if we need to, and influence legislation to go to the Capitol, to the Washington, D.C. and do what needs to be done. Let's catch this call. Hey, caller, you're on the air. What's your question or comment?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Brother Garrett, can you tie politics and economics together and kind of tell us what's the position or what's the purpose of politicians and what they're supposed to be doing to encourage economics? Now, I did hear
they don't have the votes to deliver strategic policies that will make a difference in our community. Where I get disappointed with them is that, you know, there have to be some issues that are they are swing issues where their votes are required for white folk to get what they want. And at that point in time, there ought to be some trades being made significant enough for us to see that the Black caucus and the Black folk in the legislature are impacted economics, not because they have the power, but because they have the power to hold something up from everybody else. If it's a bill that they don't like, they have the power to read the entire bill, and it'll take 3 weeks for everybody to read the bill. But they're going to have to start showing their strength and their muscle in a different way. You know, right now, the focus seems to be more on get the vote out and re-election as opposed to an economic platform in our community. So I didn't drill Mr. Divinity on economics, and I need to rethink that because it's critically important. We get less than 2% of the contracts for goods and services out of the state of Mississippi, and we're 40% of the population. And that is a shame and a disgrace. And I don't see any way to turn that around unless we get some good-hearted white folk that show up, that understand that when you keep your foot on the necks of a certain group of people and keep them on the bottom, you drag the entire state down. You kill all the creativity in the community, and you can't grow. While you're trying to hold somebody else down, you got to be down there with them to hold them. And so I got to rethink how we need to address that legislation. But from an economic development standpoint, from a political standpoint, that's all politics is about. Nobody wants to take a $80,000 job, $80,000 a year job, when Donald Trump's making $1 million, $100 million a year, and then he takes a job that pays less than $1 million. He takes that because he's able to push the economics in the direction that he wants it to go in his community. And then upon his retirement and upon when he finishes his services, that community is able to support him. And that's the way this American capitalistic system works. And our folk get caught up in hating on each other and pulling each other down and not wanting to see anybody do well. And that's the sole reason they should be in those positions. I should not be calling my city council people and my mayor to see about contractual opportunities. They ought to be calling me. Mm-hmm. They ought to be coming by my office every week, every month or so to say, what is it that we can do to help you move this ball further? We hire some 50 people in the organization now, down from 100. And those 50 people have about 250 children that we take care of in this organization. And we don't get the calls. The only politician that's calling me currently today is Kenny Stokes. And Brother Stokes, I appreciate you and what you're trying to accomplish and dealing with the economics, and you're screaming about our Black folk are not getting contracts and not currently getting them. And we got to fix that because that's the sole purpose of government. Commerce created government so that it could pool all of the dollars out of the community and distribute those dollars into the business community which created the government in the first place. So sometimes our folks get really confused about who works for who around here. And we, the citizens and the business community, does not work for the politicians.
Yeah.
We do not work for the ministers. We hire the people. We create the jobs. We create opportunities. We fund campaigns. Many of you know that I got in a lot of trouble with my funding and support for the Tony Yarber campaign. And then Black folk held that against us, so much to the point that now Black folk don't contribute. They don't give because they don't want to be drugged through the mud talking about you gave to this campaign and you gave to that campaign. That was the tactics of white folks, and especially the Northside Sun and the Jackson Free Press was designed to make sure that no Black folks participated in the political process from a financial standpoint and giving their time and money. Because they know when the business community stands up and said, we've had enough and take our rightful position, we're not going to let our Black politicians have owe debts to white folk so that they continue to do the things that white folk were doing before they got there. John Horn said, our Black politicians are out white folk and the white folk. And we gotta stop that. And so you cannot be a successful politician if you don't have the favor of and the support of your business community. It's the backbone of our economy and how we do that. So, Carl, I hope I addressed a little bit of it. You know how to push my button, and we'll get going on that. So, but now we're talking to a young man that I'm listening to him. He's very articulate. He seems to know what he's talking about. He said he studied political science in school, and he came back to make a difference in the poorest county. I won't say it's the poorest county.
It is. It's the poorest county in the nation.
Poorest county in the nation, and he's gonna, plant in that county to try and make a difference and bring back the Freedom Democratic Party. My heart goes out to him. That's a heavy load. It's a hard work there. It's difficult being a successful Black business person in the poorest state in the nation, in the most racist state in the nation. And then you try to grow something out of that soil, try to bring something good out of that soil. It's hard, but your dedication, young man, and your commitment to it is what is required to turn this thing around. And, I'm going to support you any way that I can. I want to see the Freedom Democratic Party have a candidate on the ballot. I think then you start to see and get noticed in terms of what is it we're trying to do. In all these elected local elections, there ought to be a candidate there that says, I'm a candidate of the Freedom Democratic Party and I'm running for supervisor. I'm running for mayor. I'm running for council person. I'm running for the House of Representatives, so that our folk will see your footprint, your history, and your future. Now, listening audience, let me just say this to all of the elected officials that are out there, and so that they can understand what's happening. Black folk are tired of what they see out of Black leadership.
Yes.
They tired. It's too much foolishness, too much crabs in the barrel syndrome, too much division and hatred. Black folk are tired of that. If you see what they are doing, they are turning to white folk for leadership and turning down Black leadership. I wouldn't be at all surprised if Jackson doesn't have a white mayor. Hattiesburg got one. There used to be a seat that was held by a Black mayor, prominent guy, Johnny Dupree. Natchez, Mississippi just went with a white mayor. The white mayors up in the Delta, in the heart of Black poverty, Black folk are turning to white folk for leadership like they did in Memphis, Tennessee. And so the Black community is on pins and needles as to who it is going to elect. And I've heard that there's a lot of talk about
a white candidate here in Jackson. I know that Dorsey Carson's name is constantly being bandied about. Jeff Good's name is constantly being bandied about. And, you know, they're looking at this. They're looking at us fight with each other and hate on one another. And they see that there's an opportunity for them to step in, and then they'll make sure that the economy and the economics go back to white folk like it's going now.
In the state with the majority of Black population and the majority of Black elected officials.
And the economics represent the poorest of it all. Black folk would do better in North Dakota. A Black man in business would do better in North Dakota.
Not North Dakota.
In anywhere where there are not a lot of Black people.
Wow, wow, wow.
I'm telling you fact now. I'm not telling you something I think. But when you get a Black business person into a Black base where we dominate it from a number standpoint, the percentage of economics and the wealth in the Black business community goes down. Now, somebody has got to help me with that. How is that possible? Why is that possible? What have we done wrong? Because we are not seeing, and you are a millennium, as you say, I am not seeing the kind of dedication and the leadership that I was expecting out of the millenniums. They are getting along and going along, and I think that they have become marginalized because we sent them to all white schools, and they have become to, and they don't know our history, and they don't take the fight because they don't see the fight. And that worries me and troubles me. So we're going to have to take this thing and we got to put it all in perspective, and we got to tell our candidates what is required, who they work for, who they answer to, who they should be supporting, and they should deliver to the Black community. We got to eradicate poverty in our community. We got to fight it with everything that we got. We do that through jobs. Good paying jobs, not where you got to have 3 jobs to live. With good paying jobs, we got to eradicate poverty and poor health care and bad education in our communities. And we can do that without white folk. We can do that ourselves. White folk expect us to do it for ourselves, but we don't. And we got to get that fixed. So I'm going to get off of this soap opera, young man, Mr. Wright, and let you get back on here and tell us a little bit about, you know, how you're going to make life better for my children and my grandchildren. Well, my life's good.
But I'm going to let you go. But I do want for us to use the last maybe 3 minutes to talk about what happened this week in national politics. So, but go tell them about the statue and what's going on, and then we'll talk about that. We only have about 8 minutes left.
Okay. Well, quickly about the Confederate statue. When when the Black Lives Matter movement really catapulted, after George Floyd's death, we decided that along in conjunction with the statue that commemorates and honors the Confederacy should be standing on the west side of the courthouse lawn in Lexington, Mississippi, in an 85% Black county. There is no reason it should. So we protested against it. And honestly, it's been a little fight because our Black elected supervisors are dragging their feet. I'm not going to sit here and say that it's because they're catering to the white man. I don't know what's going on behind the scenes, but I do know the white people have the power. But one thing about it is, when we came before the board after that protest we had in Lexington, I addressed them about it. They said, okay, we'll make a decision. They did make a decision. So to not beat them over the head, I gave them 5 weeks. Nothing was done. In 5 weeks, you did not begin the process. So I took the liberty to call the Mississippi Department of Archives and History, because we can't just tear it down or take it down because it's a Mississippi landmark. And I got the process, talked to them. You know what I did? I printed off the paperwork and took it to them. This is where you start, get it done.
I love it.
And I said, because if you don't get this paperwork in by a certain time, then it can't go on the October staff meeting so they can make the decision. That means we have to wait till around December, January. Get this stuff in, or you're going to see me come unglued. And that's what I said, because I just came from an FDP meeting, a county FDP meeting that was at 2:30, and I let it be known, if we don't make that agenda for the archives of history in October, I'm going to take it to another level. I'm giving you the opportunity. I'm working with you to get it done. There's no reason you should drag your foot. I gave you 5 weeks and you didn't move. We're going to have a big problem. And the FDP going to make your life hell.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I can't even understand why you're struggling with that. In an 85% black county, you can't get in the poll. You can't got nothing to lose. You can't get in. You can't get in. The Trump said you ain't got nothing to lose. You can't get no poorer than you already are, and you can't get any worse in Holmes County than you already are.
You can't.
Man, make a difference. Stand for something up there.
Fall for anything.
Take the fight, man. And, supervisors, it's just no excuse for that. These statues and these monuments represent a period in time that Mississippi, especially Mississippi, where the hatred and the treatment of black folks was just unreal and unbearable.
Unparalleled.
And so, Mississippi needs to lead. Mississippi needs to tell the world that we've taken all our monuments down and not be the last one to remove the flag. I don't know why we're holding on to foolishness and stuff that's just going to keep you up there.
Thank you.
You let me know.
Sure.
I know that Dr. J writes in the Mississippi Link newspaper, and so we have some ways to get your message out and support you. Yes. And we want to offer that to you.
And we definitely going to have you back on the show to talk about some other things that you all have been doing, because you didn't even talk about all the different protests and marches you all have been having. Because I do want us, before we leave here, to talk about Joe Biden naming Kamala Harris as his VP running mate. And what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts about that?
Well, my thoughts on it is, number one, I am a Biden supporter. And many people say we're Biden supporters because of the affiliation with Obama. But people do evolve, and I look at policy. But alongside with Kamala Harris, I think it was a great pick. I think as some symbolically to the African-American community, even the black woman who is last, that says a lot. Not the first, just one. The black woman did not come behind a white woman vice president. She would be the first woman, a black woman. And that's what I love, setting a trend. So hopefully we can get a black woman on the Supreme Court.
Exactly.
We need to be adequately and equally represented.
Yep.
So I'm excited. I mean, I know people have a lot of things to say, but I'm for it.
What are your thoughts about?
I think it's to do.
Yes.
I think that he was in a position where, the whole world was looking at everything, and he had people fighting him on every front all day long. But Kamala will be able to influence the department head selections, who runs USDA, who runs the Department of Defense, who runs the Department of the Navy, all of these things about economics. And this is what you do. To the victor goes the spoils. You put your people in place and they deliver the economics back to your community. Yes. And so you'll see her be able to do some things that we haven't seen before.
I agree.
And so I'm very proud of her, and I know she's tough enough to do it.
And this is not only a win for the black community, but she come from an HBCU, Howard University. I never thought I'd say that I'm with the AKAs, because I'm a Diamond Life member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority, but I am with this AKA. We run every yard we go on.
We need our listening audience to join Business and Ministerial Alliance. We need all our pastors to join. We need all our businesses to join. We have to put forth our platform. In the coming months, we're going to have a slate of candidates that we're going to endorse at BMA. And so it's critically important for you to have your input in saying who those people ought to be and why. We have no predetermined means or methods or names at this point in time, but this organization is going to have to get involved, and we welcome the Freedom Democratic Party being a part of this organization. Yes. So that we can make some things together. Tell them how they can join, Dr. J.
So make sure you all contact me. My number is 769-447-8313, and we will send you more information. Again, that number is 769-447-8313. We appreciate you all listening to BMA Radio Show. Same time next week, same place.
When it comes to the best biosecurity and biosafety protocols to help your business thrive during these challenging times of face masks, viruses, and gloves, schools, businesses, sports arenas, hotels, and even churches are turning to America's top COVID-19 experts.
Providing is a solution that has the ability to change the way we fight COVID-19.
Hi, I'm Socrates Garrett, Chief Operating Officer for SRS Inc., the single source solution for biosecurity protocols. SRS will ensure that your business does not shut down.
What separates SRS from other companies? We understand that if you control your environment, you control the spread of COVID-19.
SRS, the one source solution.
Welcome to We Believe TV. We are inspired by bold and spirited believers ready to adopt an innovative approach for speaking the word so that others' faith might grow from hearing the word, which gives rise to hope. Watch your church worship service live, our collection of faith-based programming, as well as original content, right here on We Believe TV. How and when you want, anytime and anywhere you want. Sign up now.
WeBelieve.tv.
Welcome to We Believe TV.